Live from New Delhi, you're watching Lead India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Thailand's Prime Minister Chan Virakul announces the dissolution of parliament in Bangkok amid Cambodia border clashes. Elections expected within 45 to 60 days. Venezuela's Maduro accuses US of criminal piracy as Trump signals strikes. US military activity rises near Puerto Rico. Severe flooding hits Washington. Governor warns of historic risk as 100,000 residents face evacuation. In cricket, Quinton de Kock's 90 sealed South Africa's win in second T20I as Tilak Varma's 50 falls short. Series level at 1-1. Thailand's Prime Minister dissolved Parliament on Friday after 3 months in office. A royal decree showed paving the way for general elections early next year. PM Anutin Chanvirakul said on social media that he was returning power to the people. According to the Thai constitution, if the king approves the dissolution, polls must be held within 45 to 60 days. Anutin said in September he planned to dissolve Parliament by the end of January, with general elections to be held in March or early April. But this move would accelerate that timeline. PM Anutin's comments come as a fierce border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia extended on Friday, leaving at least 20 people dead and nearly 200 injured. Around 600,000 people, mostly in Thailand, have fled border areas near where jets, tanks and drones have waged battle. This week's clashes are the deadliest since 5 days of fighting in July killed dozens before a shaky truce was agreed following intervention by Trump. Meanwhile, the US president said he will speak with the leaders of Thailand and Cambodia to demand a halt to the clashes. Thailand Prime Minister confirmed the news, saying the call will take place at 21:20 Thailand time or 20:50 IST on Friday.
Solved 8 wars. Think of it, 8 wars have been solved. Although Thailand and Cambodia, I think I'm going to have to make a couple of phone calls on Thailand, but we'll get that one back on track.
In Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro condemned the US for seizing a sanctioned tanker carrying nearly 1.9 million barrels of crude, calling the operation criminal naval piracy. He accused Washington of militarily taking a private Venezuelan vessel near Grenada.
Absolutamente criminal e ilegal.
Yesterday, they committed an absolutely criminal and illegal act when they proceeded to carry out a military assault, kidnapping, and robbery like Pirates of the Caribbean on a private civilian commercial merchant ship. They kidnapped the crew, they stole the ship, and I've already given sufficient instructions for all the necessary legal and diplomatic actions to be taken and measures to be implemented.
No fue en las costas de Venezuela.
The tanker seizure is the first known Venezuela-related action taken by the Trump administration since its major military build-up in the region. It comes as Trump continues to float the idea of military intervention and has recently threatened strikes on overland drug smuggling routes. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said the US will soon begin strikes to interdict narcotic shipments making their way from Venezuela to the United States via land routes.
They've treated us badly, and I guess now we're not treating them so good. If you look at the drug traffic by sea is down 92%. And nobody can figure out who the 8% is, because I have no idea. Anybody getting involved in that right now is not doing well. And we'll start that on land, too. It's going to be starting on land pretty soon.
The US issued new sanctions on Thursday targeting 3 nephews of Maduro's wife and several oil tankers and shipping companies tied to them, intensifying pressure on Caracas. The move coincided with a major US military build-up in the southern Caribbean and Trump's push to remove Maduro from power. The US Treasury announced sanctions on 6 shipping companies and 6 oil tankers accused of using deceptive, unsafe practices to transport Venezuelan crude and financially support Maduro's narco-terrorist regime. Amid escalating tensions with Venezuela, US Marines and Coast Guard helicopters were spotted at Ponce, Puerto Rico airfield on Thursday, reflecting Washington's ongoing Caribbean military buildup. A Coast Guard helicopter was seen flying near the airport while several tilt-rotor Ospreys landed, taxied and took off from the tarmac. The increased aircraft activity in Puerto Rico reflects the US ramping up its military presence in the region. US President Donald Trump said the United States will send a representative to participate in talks in Europe on Ukraine this weekend if there is a good chance of making progress on a ceasefire deal. As Kiev said, Washington was still pushing it to make major territorial concessions as parts of its plan to end nearly 4-year conflict.
I thought that we were very close with Russia to having a deal. I thought we were very close with Ukraine to having a deal. In fact, other than President Zelensky, his people loved the concept of the deal. You know, we threw something. Well, there's a meeting on Saturday. We'll see whether or not we attend the meeting. We said we'll attend the meeting if we think there's a good chance of they want me to attend. They want us to attend. And we'll be attending the meeting on Saturday in Europe if we think there's a good chance. And we don't want to waste a lot of time. We think it's negative.
Washington wants only Ukraine, not Russia, to withdraw its troops from parts of the eastern Donetsk region where a demilitarized free economic zone would be installed as a buffer between the two armies. Under the latest US plan, Moscow would also stay where it is in the south of the country but pull some of its troops out of Ukrainian regions that Russian President Vladimir Putin has not claimed to have annexed in the north. Ukraine has been revising the original US proposal and this week sent a 20-point counter-proposal to Washington, the full details of which have not been published. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Kiev had spoken with the United States about possible security guarantees for Ukraine, adding that both sides were working on a framework that must be strong enough to truly work. Zelensky also lauded that security guarantees would be impossible without Europe and all members of our coalition of the willing, from Canada to Japan, Australia and New Zealand, and that coordination was needed. He added that Kiev had also discussed with US officials what American involvement could look like in an economic agreement tied to Ukraine's recovery and post-war development.
About an hour ago, we had conversation with the United States team about possible security guarantees for Ukraine, and we are working on a framework document, and it must be strong enough to truly work. We believe this document should be approved by the United States Congress. This would mean real, solid, legally binding security guarantees for our country.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, while addressing a meeting of the coalition of the willing group of nations via video link, responding to questions about pressure to hold elections, Zelensky said Ukraine was not avoiding democratic processes, but that any vote during wartime required security conditions that Washington could help secure. He added that a ballot could only take place if there were a ceasefire, at least during the election process and during voting, saying the United States should speak to the Russian side about this.
President Trump is speaking more about elections in Ukraine. I want to say this very openly. We can try to hold elections. Ukraine is not hiding from democracy, but to make elections possible, there must be a security component, and America can help with this the most. If there is a need for elections now, there must be a ceasefire at least during election process and during voting.
European Union government started a process to freeze Russian central bank assets immobilized in Europe for the long term to avoid votes every 6 months on rolling over the freeze and pave the way for the use of the money for Ukraine. Belgium's Deputy Prime Minister Vincent van Petegem said the assets will have to be used for Ukraine at some point, but stressed Belgium will not make reckless compromises before agreeing to any deal. The decision to launch the process is part of EU's legal system, which allows governments to take special measures if they believe they need to protect the economic stability of the EU in special circumstances under Article 122 of the EU Treaty. The European Commission has proposed using frozen Russian assets or borrowing against them to raise urgently needed funding for Ukraine. But Belgium, which holds most of the assets through Euroclear, has raised legal concerns, delaying agreement. A decision is expected on December 18. Ireland's Finance Minister Simon Harris said Europe will take measures in the coming days to further immobilize Russian assets to support Ukraine. US President Donald Trump signed an executive order that will allow artificial intelligence to work within a single national framework in the country. The Trump administration has long been pushing for a single national regulation that would overlook the AI industry instead of allowing Democratic-controlled states like New York and California from trying to influence the industry with their own set of laws. This latest move by the Trump administration comes amid AI companies opening up new offices in the vicinity of the US Capitol and even launching a political super action committee which will be spending around $100 million in the 2026 midterm elections. US President Donald Trump told lawmakers at a White House congressional ball on Thursday that both major parties could work together to strengthen the country. He said he hoped Democrats and Republicans would set aside political differences for the evening and unite as Americans. Speaking with First Lady Melania Trump, he thanked members of Congress from both sides and their spouses and offered praise to Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance. Trump highlighted rising investment and wages during his first year back in office and said he expected to soon approve a defense bill with major military funding.
I want to thank all of the great people in the room, both Democrat and Republican, who work so hard on behalf of our great nation. And I just want to thank you, because sometimes we don't work together, but we come up with great ideas together, and that is true. So tonight, we're going to set aside all political differences. We're not going to criticize each other. We're going to love each other. And we're going to come together not as Democrats and Republicans, but as fellow Americans to give thanks for this nation, which is so great indeed. Great indeed.
Bangladesh will vote on February 12 to elect a new parliament, its first national election since a student-led uprising forced then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to flee country last year. Over 127.6 million voters are eligible to participate in the election taking place in all 300 constituencies. A referendum on implementing the July National Charter will also be held on the same day. The simultaneous scheduling of the national election and the referendum marks a rare political moment as the country prepares for a pivotal decision on both leadership and constitutional direction. Meanwhile, the Bangladesh Awami League, led by former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has outrightly rejected the general election schedule, calling the administration illegal and incapable of ensuring a free and fair vote. In a strongly worded statement issued on Thursday, the party accused the Mohammad Yunus-led caretaker authority of being an occupying killer fascist clique and declared that any election conducted under its supervision would lack transparency, neutrality and public legitimacy. The party also demanded Yunus's resignation. Honduras plans to begin a special vote recount soon to address irregularities in November 30 presidential election, which remains unresolved and has caused political uncertainty. Honduras plans a special recount of 2,773 disputed tally sheets, roughly 15% of the total, which could alter the election outcome. The recount may start Saturday, though the date is not yet confirmed, heightening political tension. Though 99% of ballots counted, Conservative candidate Nasri Asfura leads Salvador Nasrallah of Liberal Party by around 42,000 votes, while ruling party candidate Rikshi Monsara is in a distant third position. Approval from at least 2 of 3 CNE members is needed by December 30th amid delays and technical issues that have fueled fraud claims from President Xiomara Castro and Nasrallah. While Washington has said it is closely monitoring the count and warned it would respond to any irregularities swiftly and decisively. An earthquake with a magnitude of 6.9 has hit Japan's northeastern region on triggering tsunami in northern Japan, injured at least 50. The quake struck at 11:44 a.m. off the coast of Aomori prefecture with depth of 20 kilometers after a bigger 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit the same region late on Monday. Waves of up to 20 centimeters were recorded on the main northern island of Hokkaido and in the Aomori region after Monday's earthquake. The government issued a special advisory warning residents across a wide area from Hokkaido in the north to Chiba, east of Tokyo, to be on alert for an increased possibility of a powerful earthquake hitting again within a week. Meanwhile, later on, Japan lifted a tsunami advisory hours after an earthquake struck the northeast of the country on Friday. Heavy rains drenching the Pacific Northwest triggered flooding across much of the region from Oregon north through Washington state and into British Columbia, closing dozens of roads and prompting the evacuations of tens of thousands of people. The intense downpours began earlier in the week, swept into the region by a storm system meteorologists call an atmospheric river, a vast airborne current of dense moisture funneled inland from the Pacific Ocean. The same storm system brought heavy showers and flooding to western Montana and an edge of northern Idaho. Thousands of residents in western Washington were under level 3 evacuation orders, urging them to immediately move to higher ground. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson issued a statewide emergency declaration to hasten federal disaster aid amid forecast of catastrophic flooding and rivers expected to crest at historic levels. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Prime Minister Modi will be on a 3-nation visit from December 15 to 18. Indian cinema's biggest icon Rajinikanth turns 75, wishes galore.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more story. The people of Manipur paid tribute on Friday to women freedom fighters who took part in Nupilan on the Women's War against British colonial rule in 1904 and 1939. President Draupadi Murmu led the floral offerings at the Nupilan Memorial Complex in Imphal. Governor Ajay Kumar Bhalla, Chief Secretary Puneet Kumar Goyal, former Chief Minister N. Biren, MLAs and members of the public also participated in the tribute. Nupilan commemorative events were held across the state. In a speech at a civic reception on Thursday, the President expressed her pride in honouring the historic women who waged Nupilan and forced colonial powers to accept their demands. Governor Bhalla called it a solemn tribute to the courage, resilience and patriotism of Manipur's women. President Draupadi Murmu took part in the Darshan and Aarti Puja at the Sri Govindji Temple in Imphal on Friday, a historic centre of Vaishnavita devotion in Manipur. The Golden Twin Domed Temple is dedicated to Lord Krishna and Radha and houses 6 idols with prominence given to Lord Vishnu. It also features a shrine for Lord Jagannath. The temple attracts a large number of devotees and tourists of different castes and creeds who participated in various devotional activities. Its vibrant atmosphere reflects the message of Vasudev Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family. As part of the environmental initiative Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, President Draupadi Murmu is on an official visit to Manipur, planted a bale tree locally known as Hari Khagok at Lok Bhavan in Imphal on Friday, emphasizing her commitment to a greener planet. Governor of Manipur Ajay Kumar Bhalla accompanied the President at Lok Bhavan during the symbolic plantation under the campaign promoting green causes and biodiversity. Prime Minister Modi will be on a three-nation visit from December 15 to 18. PM Modi will visit Jordan, Ethiopia and Oman. In the first leg, PM Modi will visit Jordan at the invitation of King Abdullah II bin Al Hussein from December 15 to 16. During the visit, PM Modi will meet King Abdullah bin Al Hussein. Both leaders will review the entire gamut of relations between India and Jordan and exchange perspectives on regional issues. The visit marks the 75th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between two countries. In the second leg, PM Modi will pay a state visit to Ethiopia at the invitation of Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed Ali, from December 16 to 17. This will be PM Modi's first visit to Ethiopia. During the visit, PM Modi will hold wide-ranging discussions with Ethiopia PM on all aspects of India-Ethiopia bilateral ties. In the final leg, PM Modi will visit Oman from 17th to 18 December at the invitation of Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. This will be the second visit of Prime Minister Modi to Oman. The visit will mark 70 years of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Visit will be an opportunity for both sides to comprehensively review the bilateral partnership. India and Liberia on Thursday signed an MOU on pharmacopoeia to promote shared quality standards and regulatory alignment. The agreement, signed by Ambassador Manoj Bihari Verma and Health Minister Dr. Louis M. Poto, will support improved access to safe and affordable medicines. The agreement enables Liberia to use the Indian pharmacopoeia for medicine quality standards, improves regulatory collaboration and support access to safe, effective and affordable medicines. This is a significant step forward in India-Liberia health partnership. Charting the roadmap for strengthening economic partnership, India-Italy signed Joint Commission for Economic Cooperation (JCEC) protocol on Thursday. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy, Antonio Tajani, and India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal also witnessed the signing of industry agreements across various sectors between both sides. At the joint address to the press, the Indian minister reiterated the significance of deepening India-Italy cooperation by expanding trade, boosting investments, enhancing industrial collaborations and leveraging the broader India-EU engagement to unlock new opportunities. Congress leader and former Union Home Minister Shivraj Patil passed away at his residence in Latur on Friday morning. He was 90 and had been unwell for the past few days. A senior leader of the Indian National Congress, Patil served as the 10th Speaker of the Lok Sabha and held key positions in public life for over 4 decades. Between 2010 and 2015, he was Governor of Punjab and Administrator of Chandigarh. He is also credited with introducing the Outstanding Parliamentarian Award to honour exemplary parliamentary performance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the passing of former Home Minister Shivraj Patil. Sharing a photo of himself with Patil on social media platform X, PM Modi described him as an experienced leader devoted to public service. He also highlighted Patil's long and distinguished career, including his roles as MLA, MP, Union Minister, Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly and Speaker of the Lok Sabha. PM Modi praised his dedication to societal welfare, recalled their recent interaction at his residence and extended condolences to Patil's family. Moving on to updates on the Goa Club fire tragedy. The two brothers linked to the Goa Club fire that killed 25 people have been detained in Thailand, adding that the process to deport them to India to face trial has been initiated. The External Affairs Ministry is examining a request from the Goa government to revoke the passports of Gaurav Luthra and Saurabh Luthra, co-owners of the Birch by Romeo Lane Club in North Goa. The brothers left India shortly after the December 6 blaze in Arpora, for which an Interpol Blue Corner notice has already been issued at the behest of the CBI. Meanwhile, a court in Goa on Thursday sent Ajay Gupta, who claimed to be a silent partner and investor in the fire-ravaged Birch by Romeo Lane Club, to police custody for 7 days. A devastating accident has been reported near Chaglagam in Arunachal Pradesh's Anjor district, where a dumper carrying labourers skidded off a narrow mountain road and plunged into a deep gorge. The tragedy occurred on the high-altitude Hayuliang Chaglaga M Road at an elevation of over 10,000 feet. Casualties include 21 labourers from Assam. The vehicle rolled down the steep slope while they were travelling towards Chatporaghar in the Tinsukia district. Local authorities describe the terrain very treacherous, making rescue efforts dangerous and painfully slow. Till now, 19 bodies of workers have been recovered and 1 person is alive and 4 workers are still missing. Rescue teams at the site are facing difficulties as officials warn that retrieval may take considerable time due to the depth of the gorge and lack of specialized recovery equipment. Once recovered, the bodies will be transported to Tinsukia for identification and post-mortem examinations. The incident has sparked widespread grief across the victims' home villages in Assam. Prime Minister Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives in an accident in Arunachal Pradesh, has also announced an ex gratia of Rs 2 lakh from Prime Minister National Relief Fund to the next of kin of each deceased. Rs 50,000 would be given to those injured. In another mishap in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh, 9 people were killed and several others injured after a bus carrying 37 passengers overturned and fell into a gorge on a road between Chinturu and Bhadrachalam early on Friday morning. The accident occurred around 4:30 am IST near Tulsi Pakulu village. The bus, reportedly from Chittoor district, was transporting tourists who had visited the Bhadrachalam temple and were en route to Annavaram when it veered off the road and plunged into the valley. Prime Minister Modi also condoled the loss of lives in a bus mishap in Alluri Sitarama Raju district of Andhra Pradesh. PM Modi has also announced an ex gratia of Rs 2 lakh from PM-NRF to the next of kin of each deceased. The injured would be given Rs 50,000. Sports now. South Africa has defeated India by 51 runs in the second T20 match played at New Chandigarh. Chasing a target of 214, India was bowled out for 162 in 19.1 overs. South Africa's Bartman started with the ball, claiming 4 wickets. India's batting faltered early as Shubman Gill fell for a duck, followed by Abhishek Sharma for 17 and captain Suryakumar Yadav for 5. Akshar Patil contributed 21 runs, but wickets kept tumbling at regular intervals. Earlier, India had won the toss and opted to bowl. South Africa posted 213 for 4 in 20 overs, powered by Quinton de Kock's 90 and Donovan Ferreira's 30. For India, Varun Chakravarti picked up 2 wickets for 29 runs. With this result, the 5-match series is now level at 1-1. Superstar Rajinikanth is celebrating his birthday today. It's a double delight for his fans as they celebrate the superstar's 75th birthday and 50th year in cinema. The day also features the special re-release of his blockbuster Padayappa, treated like a first show by devoted followers despite multiple past viewings. Look at the cinema icon's journey from Apurva Ragangal to global phenomena in our next report.
South Indian film legend Rajinikanth, one of Indian cinema's most iconic and influential actors, celebrates his 75th birthday on Friday, marking a remarkable journey that began with humble origins and grew into a pan-India cultural phenomenon. Born Shivaji Rao Gaikwad on December 12, 1950 in Bangalore, Rajinikanth entered films with a small role in K. Balachandar's Apurva Ragangal in 1975 and soon established himself as a force to be reckoned with through his unique style, electrifying screen presence and charismatic mannerisms. Over the decades, he has acted in over 170 films, predominantly in Tamil but also in Telugu, Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam and Bengali. Rajinikanth's filmography spans cult blockbusters and critically acclaimed dramas including Basha, Talapati, Shivaji, Enthiran, Kabali and the recent smash Jailer. Several of these films, such as Padayappa, are being re-released to mark his 75th birthday, giving fans a nostalgic cinematic treat. Rajinikanth's contributions have been recognized with India's highest civilian and film honors. He has received the Padma Bhushan in 2000, Padma Vibhushan in 2016 and the Dada Saheb Phalke Award for Lifetime Achievement in Indian Cinema. Internationally, he has been honored with the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award and the Indian Film Personality of the Year Award at the International Film Festival of India. In addition, he has won multiple Filmfare Awards South, Cinema Express Awards and accolades from the Film Fans Association for films such as Nalavanuku Nalavan, Talapati, Annamalai, Basha and Vali.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar. Stay tuned for more news and updates.